Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, how are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Starfield video. So today we are going to take a look at hydroponics and how to grow plants in your outpost for the resources they produce. So let's jump in. Okay, so hydroponics are not particularly well explained in the game, but once you've got the hang of it, it's not too bad at all. We're going to have a look at basically what you need to know and how to get started growing plants in your outposts, and also build something that looks kind of compact and nice to that effect as well. So, first up, we need a particular skill, and it's not that one, it is this one, Botany. So as it turns out, you just need the one rank of Botany to be able to build things in your outposts. So if we have a look at the first rank here, we get more common and uncommon resources from plants, learn additional info about them from the scanner, and allows some plants to be cultivated at your outposts. This third one is the one that is unique to rank 1. The others add more information, but this is the only one that affects you being able to grow things as far as I can see so far anyway. So, learning additional info is also important because you need that information in order to know what you can grow and also to open up the options to build hydroponics structures. So you can see Starleaf here produces cosmetic resources, and you've got the biome, the genetics, the reproduction there, and most importantly, outpost production is allowed, so I can build this in my outposts and grow it in them, and it requires an input of water. So different plants are probably going to require different things. This one requires water, so keep an eye on that. There is another plant over here that I really wanted to build in my outpost that it looks like I cannot, and that is this Apollo Fireleaf here. You can see on the list here, I've got it 100% scanned, which you must have in order to either open up the hydroponics structures, the greenhouses, and also in order to build it at your outpost. But this one I can't build, probably because it is too big to fit in a greenhouse. But it's worth bearing that in mind, so taller things you might have an issue with. However, once you've scanned a couple of things to 100%, and you have one that will actually be growable in your outpost, you will get, under the Builders tab, these greenhouses, which will not be there until you have successfully got the Botany skill and scanned something to 100%. If you're on a planet where you've already scanned everything to 100%, run over and scan a couple of plants again just to give it a little shove, wake it up a little bit, and then you'll be fine. So we've got two different types here to start off with. I'm guessing they have different output amounts, but it doesn't specify. They do have slightly different build requirements, but we're going to go with this little one here just for the purposes of today, because we can see what's going on, and it'll create something that looks quite nice. So drop that down in my outpost location here. Looks okay. This one we can't raise up or lower down, unfortunately. It's just fixed at its set height. Hopefully that means, judging by the stairs, it looks like it will work okay with uneven ground, but there we go. So we know right now we need water for the plant we want to produce, so I'm going to put a water extractor, water vapor one here. I'm going to position it just next to things so that it kind of accentuates the corners and the sides a little bit to make it a bit more interesting looking. And I need power too, both for the greenhouse and for the water vapor extractor thingamajigger. So I'm going to need a generator. I've made a slight error here and put a small one down, and it doesn't produce enough electricity for me though. So let's go and correct that. I'll just quickly delete that, get all my resources back, grab my an advanced wind turbine, we'll drop this on the back. It looks a lot bigger than it is at the bottom, but yeah, it's quite a nice size. So we'll find a nice spot to drop this, and again, I want to position it so that we come with a kind of nice shape and interesting looking set of angles around the main structure here. It's just complementing that main orb there, which I think works quite nicely there. So now we're going to head over to the water extractor and create an output link from that, starting with the extractor, to the place we want it to link to and the water to go to, which is the greenhouse. So now we've got that red dashed line, the two are connected, and we can actually start growing. Which means we're going to need somewhere to store our cosmetic resource, which is what we're growing here. So we've got a storage bin container here. These things are a bit ugly, so I'm going to go for a smaller one that I can kind of hide around the back a little bit better. So drop that in. I'll make some small adjustments here just to sort of fine-tune where I want it placed. That looks alright. And now we can connect from the greenhouse to the storage bin, so we've got somewhere to actually store our cosmetics as they're being produced. So there we go. Another useful little tip here that I had mentioned in a comment recently, so shout out to whoever that person was, as that's a really cool tip. This particular storage crate, and this one specifically seems to be the only one that I've found so far anyway, that does this. This larger one, you can place it down and it will take a storage connection, an output connection, from, well, basically anything that has an output, and will allow you to store your resources in it directly and automatically, more to the point. And we're going to stack a couple of these up, which is a little awkward to do. We can do. They have more storage space in these storage crates than you do in that massive storage bin, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so that may change on down the line if Bethesda agree with my observation about it not making sense. But we can go and create an output from this storage bin at the back here, this solid storage, to this crate here, and then we'll continue that by creating a chain up the pile of storage crates to the middle one and then to the top one. And now this will actually fill up from the last crate in the chain first, all the way back to the first one last. Basically everything flows downhill with it, is the, figuratively speaking, the answer. So there we go. We basically have a functional setup to create cosmetics, in this case, and store them. Now, if you want them to go to another outpost, you'll need to work with cargo links, and if you want them on your ship, you're going to need the scissor lift transfer container, so that you can transfer it to your ship, which I'm not going to do here for now, but we are going to dress this up a little bit so that this little structure looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, a little bit more visually interesting. So you can see I'm dumping a load of decoration stuff around that I'm going to use, sort of picking and choosing things, and now we're going to put this little cart together. Apparently having a bit of a hard time getting a box onto the lower level, but a smaller box works, so we should do that. A couple more bits on the top to make this look a little bit more interesting, just to wrap out, making this place look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Cooler, that'll do it. And as you see, I'm doing this rather rapidly, just to make the whole thing look a bit more interesting before we finalise our build here. So I'll tuck that in the corner, I'll come back to that. Let's put this dolly with a container there, just on the end there at a bit of an angle. Chuck a bin in the corner, this can go in there, make sure it doesn't hide the box on the bottom part, adds a little bit more visual interest. What about over by the entrance? We need something over this side, as it's a bit bare at the moment. Well, console's not a bad idea. Let's grab a taller one and push that towards the back. And then a shorter one can go in front of it. Should look alright. And I think we need a little bit more. Stick a sign on the wall, why not, badly. Just adds a little bit more visual interest, again. And got here weapon case, could do. No, actually I can't do, I haven't got any polymer. Okay, so how about a storage crate? That'll work. Okay, that adds a bit more interest. Chuck the lamp on the top. We could always add a bit more bits and pieces to that if we wanted, but as far as adding a little more visual interest to the entrance, that's fine. So around here we'll just have a quick look one last time. My main storage bin is empty, but the last one in the chain is starting to fill up with cosmetics materials already. Nice. So I can just run over there and collect them when I need to. If we have a look at the control console outside the door here, you can see I can choose what this place is producing. I don't have to plant stuff like in older games, I just come over to the console and select it. So it looks from like here, I've still got one more plant to discover that I can cultivate. So last thing we're going to do as far as the structural elements are concerned, let's grab our outpost beacon, bring it over here. We've got a nice sized gap here that it's going to fit in and just look a lot more tidy, create a nice compact standalone kind of structure which could be put into a larger outpost if you wanted to do so. And there we go. Let's have a little wander around this place, shall we? A little tour to finish things off with, because we like to do that. Yeah, all in all, a simple, compact little combination of items. Obviously, you'd probably want to build a larger outpost with more going on, especially if you want to ship it off to another outpost, either within the system or outside of it. But all in all, I think it creates a nice little look with plenty of little bits of extra interest and visual attention going on around. Obviously, you can keep on building and make the thing more interesting if you would like to. A couple of things I'm not massively keen on, apart from the whole storage and shipping system with the hydroponics specifically, are that you don't get to choose where things are placed inside. You can't manually plant, which is a change from previous Bethesda games. This structure, the greenhouse, is a resource producing thing. It's listed as a builder. It's under the builders section of the menu because it's not really a hab. It's not really a structure you can build inside. I imagine you can put a few things down for decoration if you want, but it's really just a functional object, hence why it's controlled by the panel there outside. And yeah, I do wish we had a little bit more control over what we could put in here and how we could place things, sort of thing. And you know, if I wanted to build a big one, maybe I could pick and choose where I put the plants. The other thing is that Bethesda have just put the plants in, and depending on what you're growing in here, they can look a little too uniform. These smaller ones actually aren't too bad for it, but some of the larger plants that fit in here, on the larger end of the scale for the ones that do, they look a little bit too generic in terms of their placement, so it could be a little bit more attractive. But that is how the hydroponics function. That is how you can grow things in your outpost, and as well as a few little tips there to make your greenhouse look a little bit more interesting. I forgot to put a bot in there, but it doesn't really matter too much. So, I hope you guys found this useful and informative. If you did, please consider dropping subs and likes. I very, very much appreciate. Social media links, merch store, and channel memberships all available down below the video as well if you want to support the channel that way. I hugely appreciate it. Really, really helps out. So, massive thank you to everyone who's done that. And join us for live streams as well. We are, of course, playing Starfield. We're playing Fallout 76 as well. I do hope to see you there. But for now, I'll say a massive thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.